Now to our second talk, to see how it may help the mobility industry in like practical terms. I mean, what should I say? He's part of why I'm still in Swabian Stuttgart and why I'm working with Daimler Mobility. He's actively involving himself in blockchain since 2012. And okay, it's easy to say for me, but I have not seen many people that are so passionate about this topic and push it so hard as he is doing it to become really a blockchain veteran in the field, especially in the mobility space. His passion and his personality, also within those traditional companies, made him to co-found the Daimler Financial Service Blockchain Swarm and made him to initiate the development of the so-called SmartVin blockchain platform, a financial settlement engine for transactions around the vehicle. But not only that, his vision to leapfrog Daimler Mobility into the new economy of movement. He also initiated the development of the mobility blockchain platform with several European blockchain startups that are here in the room and demonstrated first product release at the Plug and Play Startup Autobahn event last July. To learn more about digital identities for the success of new services for the future of mobility, Harry Behrens, I want to welcome you on stage. He is head of Daimler Mobility Blockchain Factory, and I know a lot, but I'm excited to learn from him how he sees the mobility blockchain platform to provide more services through identity roaming for mobility. Up to you.
Well, that surely set the bar high. I wish a third of that is true, yeah, but okay. So, today I'll talk about essentially decentralized platforms and how identities at every level are core to basically transact business end to end. But at this point in time, I'd like to already start introducing a term here. I used to be working very closely or very intensively in the telecommunications sector. And if you think telecommunication, when you have, each one of you probably has a SIM card in his pocket, and each one of you may travel through Europe and everywhere in the world, possibly use bundles, possibly use services, and all you know is you got one point of contact, whoever sold you the SIM card, who will bill you correctly. You never see anything else, but while you're roaming and while you're moving around, somebody is constantly verifying your identities, delivering your service, even though that company might have never met you. So this is what the telco industry has solved for 20, 30, 40 years the hard way. So now if we start speaking about decentralized platforms and how we think about basically bundling revenue distribution or so, the bar we should set ourselves is, if we do it half as good as the telcos have been doing it with their own way in the last 10 years, we've achieved a lot. And this is why I've rephrased the original title from talking about decentralized identities, who the hell knows what that is anyway, towards, okay, let's talk about service and identity roaming. If I can roam and into somebody else's domain of control, be somehow identified and be able to consume a service without having to do anything, and all the parties in that game get their money in real time, then we've done what we're set out to do. All right, so what's the problem statement? Basically, coming from where are we, what are we looking at? Well, first okay. If you think about urban mobility, so if you think about mobility in urban areas, metropolitan, then the ideal world is fairly easy to describe. You basically have one touch point where you buy your ticket. That ticket gives you access to anything that city has to offer in terms of mobility, be it public transport, be it rental, be it parking, be it charging, scooter, blah, 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 blah. You just want to have all of that through one channel, whoever your channel may be. And all of the participants should be able to offer their services, bundle their services, sell you all of that, And if they are delivering the service, they want to make sure that they receive the money in real time and not as it is now, 3 months later, based on basically estimates, because in the public transport system, nobody actually knows which Verbund has delivered what kind of service. They're basically guesstimating. So that is the picture, and that's fairly easy to describe. There's another one on top of that, which will greatly shape the way autonomous driving will happen, where I believe it's guided autonomous driving. It is the regulators, the cities, will have a very big say in how this works. It's not just going to be a free-for-all, you deliver your service, you throw your assets on the roads, and you can hope to do business. That's not how it's working. So cities have environmental concerns, they have life quality concerns, they want a balance between the different modalities in their traffic to work well. So the overall scheme of urban mobility will have to at least be guided by the regulators. So why doesn't this exist? Well, this will tell you basically it's a study by bearing point, but the points are clear. The biggest pain point is technical integration and lack of standardization. And the part about doing the identity, while it's 50% of the story, and while it's very much now in everybody's, at least here in the room, it's in everybody's mind that that's the big thing we need to solve. In terms of technical, anybody of you involved in building systems, it's the least pain you got. The pain you have is, when you think about, you've got decentralized business partners, they do not share cashier, accounting, processes, etc. And you now want to distribute that money in real time without dispute, without, oh no, I was expecting 110, no, you only do 105. You obviously don't want any of that, right? And that is where the real pain is. When you think about doing this, the only way it should be done, and that is hyper-automated. If it doesn't work end-to-end, full automation, no media break, no human eyes needed to do the operation, it will not scale like software scales. And only software scales. So this is basically the design principle and the pain point with which we entered this whole area. So, very simple. Existing mobility services are basically proprietary. Each vertical has got his own onboarding, his customer master data, blah, 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 his service delivery, and his accounting system. Works well for, I am a rental company, I'm a car sharing company, I'm a parking company, works well. Doesn't work well with, I want to give you integrated services. Because each one has one service, each one has one identity which doesn't roam. Remember, it would be like, I'm a telco, I offer you a contract, and now you go to the UK, you basically have to onboard yourself again, go to the airport, do a KYC, do a picture, blah, 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 just so you can use your mobile phone, and probably you have to exchange the SIM card, which means you immediately use your contacts, and you're not reachable under your old number. That would be unacceptable, obviously, for mobile phones. Why should it be acceptable for anything else? So, basically, existing, they're proprietary, they're disconnected from each other, they all have their different identity management, and each one of them does their own service well. And again, that is not how mobility should be handled in an urban, seamless, smart city style of movement, where we strongly believe this is the way it will be going. Okay, now, that's the problem statement. Now, what does the mobility blockchain platform provide before I get into the specific solution? So we are addressing these problem statements with the mobility blockchain platform. This is real software now that we've been developing it for more over a year. Robin already said we started with 4 startups. Riddle & Code is sitting right here. They're one of the partners we started this with. By now we got 5 venture companies and 2 industrial partners actively contributing here. So it is a business-to-business backplane. So we basically provide core elements which are common to any and all business transaction. Which means whoever runs this platform is not in the business of providing mobility services. However, any service you can think of needs signature to sign an agreement. So somebody needs to give you an offer with a signature by the offering party. Somebody needs to have seen that offer with the terms and conditions and countersigned it, with the parties being KYC grade, know your customer grade identified, so you have a valid contractual agreement between the two, and that is universal to all service agreements. You need that anyway. It doesn't matter whether you're doing scooters, public transport, or taxi, you need that anyway to form with the other. And you need the verification of these identities. You need the access control once you deal with, for instance, parking lots or vehicles. You need to be able to fully automatically, keyless is the key here, one-click rental with keyless. You need to be able to, based on cryptographic authentication, open or not open the car based on a validated signature being in place. You need, in an ecosystem, you obviously need discovery, and mainly you need contracting. You need the digital signatures proving to you that you have a valid legal contract in place, and a valid legal contract in place means you must have identified the natürliche Person or the juristische Person that is signing this. So that is basically what you need. So, and then you actually have what blockchain is promising ever since Vitalik Buterin entered, then you really got smart contracts and not just software on ledger, which is mostly what people are doing now. And last but not least, you obviously need settlement. And with settlement, I don't mean cash. No big company is doing their bookkeeping by cash. We are doing bookkeeping. Books are what matters, not the cash. So when Daimler does year-end closing and we publish how much we made profit or how much we made profit and how much we own in a balance sheet, nobody cares a hoot about the cash. That's tiny. What we care about is that the ledgers are in sync, that our main ledger and our sub-ledgers are synchronized, consolidated, reconciled, and that's what we base the numbers on, and by the way, that's what we pay the tax on. And now, in a distributed environment, you need distributed ledger. Basically, a universal ledger among all the business parties, where everybody knows my accounts receivable and your accounts payable are symmetric. You got exactly your accounts payable matches my accounts receivable, but it's in your copy of the ledger. That's the settlement. Again, this is universal to any type of business. So this is what we focus on doing, and nothing else. That's all we do, but we do that right. So basically this whole thing is distributed software for open mobility. It's 100% open source for various reasons which I'll address in the panel later on. All of the protocols are completely clean, pristine, non-contaminated. There is no intellectual property, there is no license, there is no patent whatsoever. Anybody can bring their black boxes as long as they're in the box, software box, but any exchange between any unit and the other, which is what the definition of protocol is, basically communication, all of that is completely open. Look at it, steal it, copy it, take it away, whatever you want, because that's the only way you're going to be able to build a vibrant and open ecosystem where you need a lot of partners to basically achieve critical mass. Because let's be honest, we're in a business that is based on hypotheses and assumptions and hypotheses stacked upon each other, because all of this is all future markets if we're real about it. So for that to work, we need critical mass, and for critical mass, you need minimum friction for the relevant parties to come in. So this is basically what we're trying to do, and you see here the ventures we did it with. So we got everything is based on 3 identities: customer, company, and car. And any contract we have, any contract and billing records, so call detail records for anybody out here who's been in the telco industry, will always be signed on company, customer, and car. Okay, and based on that, what do we want to do? We want to be able to do one-click rental. I'm delivering a service, I've never seen you before, but with one click I can deliver the service, I've done my legal duty, somebody did a KYC, know your customer on you, I got all the signatures in place, all of this should have been done automatically. I want self-service access, automatic access control, the door will open based on all the signatures being in place. And at the end of this whole thing, again, this should be hyper-automated, at the end of a rental, everybody knows exactly where the signatures are, everybody knows what the relevant dimensions for payment are, time, GPS, fuel, electricity, whatever, and then you basically settle it. And as we said, this is completely open, all of it. But now, how does this work now? So we need to establish a common technical backbone among what we call mobility verticals. A vertical is a single service provider. And we need to enable customers to use all these services, including bundles with one click. Basically, we need to have whoever is the sales channel, and everybody should be able to be the sales channel in the ecosystem, must be also the party that makes it possible for each one of their customers to seamlessly roam across the ecosystem. That's all you need. If you've done that, you've done your job. So, now establishing a common technical backbone for mobility services. It basically means you standardize the core business processes, the core layer, which are the same for each, and you make sure that your integration effort, that's now IT talk, is minimum invasive. If you go in there and you say, in order to join this, you need to throw away your legacy system, and by the way, need to onboard your customer again, you just lost a customer. Then you need unified identities. It's not only the car. You need unified identities to one form or the other for company, customer, and car. And actually the most relevant ones are company and customer, because they're the only legal entities in all of this game, because a car for the foreseeable future can countersign things as proof of something which is done accepted or not accepted by the mother company, but it is not possible for a car to enter a legal transaction. And of course, you want to be able now, for an ecosystem to grow, you want seamless bundling. So I bundle an insurance company, insurance service, I bundle a hotel, I bundle a trip to Hawaii, whatever you want, but basically all of this should be done fully automatically. Each service provider doesn't need to take care of this boring part about the identification, the signature, the signing, the collecting of the billing records, and the revenue distribution. They basically work on the thin app and leave most of the heavy lifting to the FAT protocol, which the mobility blockchain platform or something similar will give them. So, the happy world is you got a unified customer identity and login, you can offer bundled multiple services, and you have seamless, costless revenue distribution. That's the happy path. Now, how would this look? So, once this is done, you have one common identity, and you got multiple services where you can bundle. And this is how it would look. So your customer here, basically, somebody sends him a ticket. Notice the three colors in the little coupons here. They're corresponding to the three colors here. Any of them has just offered him all the services of the others, and these three are basically part of a federation where something like the mobility blockchain platform provides the integration layer in the back. So now I have a right basically being given to me by company one, where company one is saying, all right, I just sold that customer a seamless ticket to Berlin all you can move, and any of the other federation companies has to offer this, and by the way, it's not the customer who's going to pay them afterwards. They just need to know that company one will honor this ticket, and that is how they will get their money. So now, customer pays company one. So now you got in custody, Treuhand, whatever you want to call it, you got the cash from which we're going to be distributing sitting with company one. Now he wants to use a service by this company. So this company now basically delivers the service, presents proof of the fact that it has just honored a voucher or has just honored a verified claim actually, and presents that to the company that actually sold the service. The company that sold the service does some cryptographic magic, which blockchain and decentralized identity and claim verification is so good at, does indeed now know, oh yeah, this works, I owe this company X, and transfers the money to company one. No, this company, the red company. The red company doesn't know who that customer is, doesn't need to know who that customer is. All that company knows is, the blue company has identified this customer, the blue company has received money from that customer, and the blue company is vouching for the fact that when that customer presents herself to the red company, money will flow. Alright, that is basically all you need. So, in this picture, you do a KYC once, whoever is the KYC provider, any of the federation members can be a KYC provider, but it can also be a third party. You can just offer the bundles as in any way you want it. Anybody can be a sales channel. A third party can be a sales channel. A travel agency could basically be selling all of this. And you got automated and secure revenue distribution. And the beauty is, on the technical layer, we've designed this in a way you do not need to touch much on your system. So the whole integration is very, very, very easy, even if you're not yet on the blockchain road. All right, so this is basically how we believe decentralized identities, blockchain, and IoT actually should come together for providing a seamless experience, which again, the telcos have been doing it for 20 years. They did it in a much more complicated way, but with blockchain and distributed ledger technology, you now can do it really, really easy.
All right. Okay, yeah, thanks, Harry. Again, impressive. I don't know when this happened, maybe again overnight, as I know you. I think, I know this topic is quite complex, but I myself think that Harry very well explained it. What you need in order to build such a, let's say, open, decentralized ecosystem involving digital identities, distributed ledgers, and so on. I don't have a question, but I think you may have some. So, up to you. Questions to Harry.
Hello. Thank you very much. My name is Christina Patsura from the GSMA, which is actually the Telecoms Alliance. As a matter of fact, telecoms have lately been experimenting with doing the roaming on the blockchain. But I have a more basic question for you. At what stage are you with this? Where are you currently? Do you plan to launch commercially?
So we plan to launch first commercial pilots definitely within the year. So around mid-year plus minus. We do hope to have the first commercial pilots out there. The software is production ready, and I would say in March it's production ready, including enterprise acceptance, etc.
Okay, I would say this last question, and then we move on with our panel.
Thank you. Clemens Roth from Blacklane. Very convincing how you presented that with multi-modal mobility. To what degree is that already in the industry, or are we also thinking about cooperating with open source providers like OTA, Open Travel Association, or Open Journey Planner, or someone like that?
Well, the whole design is based on open source and open protocols. So it's by nature, that's what we're trying to do. The two specific names you mentioned, we're not in talks with them yet, but do introduce them.
Yeah, nice. I think that's clear. Approach us, let's do something together. And involve everybody who is here in the room, because I think this is what also MOBI stands for.